Across Central Oregon on this Monday, we're in a little bit of a break between systems, but we're about to get into another active weather pattern. This time, another winter storm is working its way through the Pacific Northwest, meaning heavy mountain snow is on the way. On top of that, we are looking at stronger winds and even some snow totals in our lower elevations. All of this happening through the next couple of days, really through the middle of this week. By late this week, we're back to sunshine and our next warming trend. Hey everyone, I am Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily News, and we are about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast because here through the next few days is when, actually tomorrow, wind speeds pick up, then we start to see some showers. But as of today, we've had a mixture of clouds, some sunshine, and there have been a couple of smoke plumes. Some of the Oregon Hazard Labs cameras, really the fire detection cameras, really zooming in on a couple spots, but for the most part, we've been having good air quality across Central Oregon, and our roads are dry for most until you get into the highest elevations. That's where we have some wet roads, and that is for Government Camp Stadium Pass, Century on the way up to Bachelor, and Willamette Pass. Notice not much snow on or around the roads. That's going to be changing this week. Each one of those cameras, including the Diamond Lake Junction camera. Right now, through most of Central Oregon, you can actually see a lot of shadows on the ground in Sisters, Madras a little bit, Prineville, not so much at Lava Butte, but in a couple of the Bend cameras you can. In the Lapine camera, you definitely can, and that is indicative of the in and out cover that we've been expecting. Now here, through the last several hours, we've had some clouds. Not much in the way of precipitation after a few sprinkles earlier today, but as we go forward, we are expecting to get into that active weather pattern with some moderate to high impacts through the Cascade passes. And this is not just the San Diego and Willamette Pass. Getting up to Government Camp, we have minor to moderate impacts, and getting down to Diamond Lake Junction, again, moderate to minor impacts are expected. And this is all because of our next system. That next system is further out over the Pacific Ocean. We're starting to see some clouds from that. And as we go forward through the next couple of days, we start to see the showers late tomorrow. So this is at a glance Tuesday, looking at temperatures, cloud cover, and precipitation. Notice just increasing clouds through the day tomorrow up through the midday hours. Late in the midday going into the afternoon, that's when we're actually looking at a few sprinkles. Notice those temperatures coming well into the 50s, close to and a little below average for this time of the year. But the big change up on this graphic is a 5 p.m. Slate. That's where we're looking at more mountain snow, some showers, a little bit of wintry mix coming down the west slopes or the east slopes of the Cascades, and more precipitation on the west slopes of the Cascades. So it's really going to be by tomorrow afternoon, getting into the evening, that we start to get the impacts from this next system. And because of this next system, the National Weather Service has issued a series of winter storm warnings through the Cascades, including a winter weather advisory for the Cascades of South Central Oregon that comes down the east slopes close to Crescent, just not quite all the way through Crescent and Gilchrist. And so when we look a little bit closer, this winter storm warning includes the east and the west slopes of the Cascades. These bigger numbers, these 12 to 20 inches, includes the crest of the Cascades. So above 2,500 feet on the other side of the mountains. That's where we're looking at a foot to almost 2 feet, a little over a foot and a half. And on our side of the Cascades, on the east slopes of the Cascades, we're looking at a half to 1 foot of snow above 4,000 feet. Now, we could extrapolate that a little bit more. We're not looking at much in the way of snow in our lower elevations. We're talking Sister, Sun River, Lapine, Three Rivers, and Deschutes River Woods, but some totals are expected there. In those locations, about 3 to 6 inches possible, but in the lowest elevations, we're talking a trace to maybe 3 inches. And here's a look at the bigger picture. We do notice that through the Cascades, we have some of those isobars, those equal lines of pressure stacked a little closer to each other. So it has been a little breezy, even gusty at times across the high desert today, but we are in the break between systems. When we look at the bigger picture and out over the Pacific Ocean, what we have is a low pressure system over the Gulf of Alaska. A cold front stretched to the south. That's our next cold front, but it has to get past this broad ridge of high pressure. It's off the California coastline. There is another system just over my head, and that is a system that we're going going to be tracking for later on in the 7-day planner. But for the most part, when it comes to anything to do with water vapor, moisture in the air, we're relatively dry, even with that cloud cover over the high desert. That's why we're not really seeing much in the way of precipitation today. So here through the rest of this afternoon and evening, we're talking some in and out clouds. That goes into tonight. It's not really until tomorrow that we start to get some increase in clouds. Then by Tuesday afternoon, we're noticing showers west of the Cascades. And those showers come up the west slopes of the Cascades, transition to snow, then a cold front pushes through. That cold front brings several changes, so we are going to wind that back. We are going to take that a little bit slower. Here's where we're sitting Tuesday at 2 p.m. By Tuesday at 4 p.m., starting to get some snow in the Cascades. This does include snow through the passes, so we could actually start to see some slick roads on the backside of the day tomorrow, especially as we're on the downhill side of the day going through that cooling trend through the evening. That's when we could be getting some slick roads. So if you do any traveling through the passes, keep that in mind. We continue to get snow through the Cascades through really the rest of Tuesday night. And then by Wednesday morning, we're talking 5 to 7 in the morning, so around and just before sunrise, that next cold front pushes through, dropping our snow levels even more. This is round 1 of some snow showers in our lower elevations. Round 2 comes Wednesday and Wednesday night. It's going to be very hit and miss. Not everybody getting persistent snow through the entire day, but some snow showers are expected with that colder air mass just descending over the Pacific Northwest. So when it comes to relative humidity, how much moisture is in the air, we're in the 40s and 50s, this is percentage-wise. Now, highs today in the last 24 hours topped out in the 50s with 48 in Sun River and 60 in Warm Springs. As of right now, we're still in the 40s and 50s. We still have these temperatures that are near and a little below average for this time of the year, and temperatures are running as much as 11 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. Just a few hours ago, some of these areas in the blue, the east slopes of the Cascades, we were actually sitting a couple of degrees cooler than 24 hours ago. But tonight, we're talking 20s, some 30s. By tomorrow, 50s again. And that actually puts us really close to the average high temperature of 57 in Bend and 59-60 a little bit further in the lower elevation. So in Redmond, the average high temperature is about 60 degrees. Now, when it comes to our weather pattern through the next couple of days, this forecast model really focuses on surface temperatures, and they're going to be cooling. Not so much cooling tomorrow, but by Wednesday and Thursday, it's just getting chilly because of this next cold front that pushes through Wednesday morning. So some late showers Tuesday. Winds are really picking up tomorrow with more clouds. Then those showers transition to wintry mix and then snow showers with persistent snow through the Cascades through most of this event. It is going to be chilly, and those snow showers could put some light totals on the ground, but by Thursday morning, we're actually looking at some slick roads to start, and then we start to clear out. That's going to be the coldest day out of the next several, and then we get some more ups and downs on the way. So when it comes to between now and Thursday at 11 p.m., or eventually a ridge of high pressure is going to build over the region to wrap up the work we can go into the weekend. But between now and then, that's where we're looking at the heavy mountain snow. This specific forecast model, we're going to look at it closer again, shows 1 to 2 feet. Some locations get a little bit more. But this is a more high-resolution model, and I think it's overdoing it. Here's what you can expect. We have the cooling becoming chilly below average by Wednesday and Thursday. By Friday, we start to rebound, and under sunshine, we're back into the 60s just in time to start the weekend, but not through the whole weekend. So your forecast model does show that here through the overnight hours, we are expecting some in and out clouds. These in and out clouds are coming just in advance of our next system. Showers start Tuesday p.m., become snow showers in the Cascades, wintry mix, then snow through the lower elevations. Not too much in the way of totals for most of Central Oregon, but we are talking a trace to maybe 4 inches, which once you get up to the higher elevations, we're talking the Pine, Sun River, Three Rivers, Deschutes River Woods, could be getting 3 to 6 inches, but it's not even going to be for everybody. And these sprinkles and flurries linger through Thursday, but by Friday, we are back to more sunshine. After that, on Friday, we actually have to go to the GFS. That is a long-range forecast model, and it actually shows that by Saturday, more sunshine. By Sunday, this one shows more clouds with some Sunday night showers. And then by Monday, in and out cover, a few more showers expected. So it doesn't show that this calmer weather pattern with more sunshine. The brighter, the more mild is going to stick with us through the entire weekend. But one thing we are checking out is those numbers. Look at this. In the lower elevations, traced to maybe 4 inches. The higher elevations, that's where we have, look at this, the bright pink, and where the bright pink and the light pink meet. That is 18 inches. So we are, this specific forecast model is actually showing 1 to 2 feet through the Cascades, but it's not the only one we have. We have another one. This one isn't as high resolution, but it is showing what I think is actually going to happen. A trace to 3 to 4 inches in the lower elevations. Many of us just getting a trace, not even worth breaking out the snow shovels. And then in the higher elevations on the east slopes of the Cascades, that's where we have the potential for 3 to 6 inches, and through the mountains 12 plus inches, including Diamond Lake Junction, which is actually looking at 18 plus inches, and Government Camp looks at 12 plus inches as well. So it does show that we are looking at heavy mountain snow, and that's right on target with what this winter storm warning is showing. Even right now it's gusty, and these gusty conditions are expected to continue tomorrow as well. Actual wind speeds more like 10 to 20 miles per hour, and here through the overnight hours we start to taper off, so it is going to be breezy for a couple more hours, even gusty at times. Winds mostly out of the south to start the day tomorrow. They pick up through the afternoon as we start to get more clouds, and then precipitation in advance of our next cold front. This is the trough moving over the Pacific Northwest, staying with us through Wednesday, when it's actually going to be gusty for many of us. So for tonight, we're talking 20s with some 30s on the map. By tomorrow, we're looking at 50s for most, a few 40s and 60s possible, but that's not it. We stay close to and a little below average for this time of the year. Tuesday, by Wednesday, it gets chilly. By Thursday, it's even chillier. We have that winter storm warning for the through the Cascades from 5 p.m. Tuesday to 5 a.m. Thursday. And with that warning, we are looking at heavy mountain snow, a foot plus. In the lower elevations, just some light totals by this weekend. We're wrapping up the work week and going into the weekend. More sunshine, warming temperatures, and still near and above average for this time of the year, late in the 7-day planner. So our weather headlines include an active weather pattern ahead. The Cascades, winter returns. It's going to be gusty, wetter, and snow totals are even possible in our lower elevations, but as of right now, it is not bad at all. All right, that is the latest in weather. I'm going to show you one more time the details surrounding those winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories through the Cascades. We're looking at 6 to 12 inches on the east slopes of the Cascades, 12 to 20 inches at the crest and on the west of the slopes of the Cascades. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.